Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're here with another episode of The Last of Us, episode 4. Last time on The Last of Us, what an interesting week it was. Interestingly, the when I recorded that episode, of course, or the reaction to that episode, it was the night off, so it was the night that the episode aired. And I had no idea the kind of online discourse that it would have sparked, and how it would have permeated social media discussion for the duration of the week to come. So that was interesting. What I will say or the last thing I'll say on that episode, and it's we've whether fortunately or unfortunately, we have arrived at a point in time where we're divided in extremes. So you must either absolutely love something and there's no critique, there's no discussion, there's no nuance. You must absolutely love it, or on the opposite side, you must absolutely hate it. It's the worst thing you've seen and it's trash. You must hate it or love it, and there's just no middle ground. There's no discussion to be had. There's no nuance. And it's really unfortunate that that's where we have arrived at, especially within the creative space, within media and entertainment as a whole, because that's where creativity goes to die, right? When you no longer critique something. How does an artist perfect their craft without criticism? Valid criticism, mind you, not it must be valid criticism, but how do you improve without criticism? And I say that because while I know that there were a loud minority, anti-gay sentiments and bigots and so on, who had an issue with seeing a gay couple depicted on TV. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, there appears to be people who dismiss any criticism of the episode whatsoever and argue that anyone who had an issue with the episode or a critique of the episode were homophobic. And I group those people together with the bigots, because I feel as though it's the same I don't know, it's the same unimaginative short-sightedness that gets you to that conclusion. So I lump those people together because I believe that they're equally toxic, and they don't contribute anything to the narrative whatsoever. And I say that unapologetically. As a person of color, and of course I don't speak for every person of color, but one of the things that I hate seeing the most is when tokenism is used, where a black person is used as a crutch, or an excuse for proper storytelling, and people feel as though they must believe that thing is good purely because of what the person represents. Absolutely hate seeing that. Do not wish to see it. I think people confuse what inclusion means, and it does mean judging something on its own merit, not because what a specific group of people or a subject matter represents. You judge the story on its own merit, and unfortunately it felt like the last episode fell in the former, where it felt as though it was just a straight person's perspective of how he believes gay romance is, and he just wanted to show that. And as I said, I love Bill and Frank. I just didn't feel as though I needed an hour spent with those two characters who are side characters who contributed nothing to the story as a whole. And I believe some people felt, that in order to support what Bill and Frank represented, they must believe that the episode was great. And those things are not synonymous, it's not synonymous. You can like the characters and critique the episode simultaneously. It's not one or the other. So it's just really unfortunate that this is a point where we have now gotten, where there is just no discussion to be had there. One of the things that I have seen people in defense of the episode, who believe that it's not a filler. And again, let me just make it clear: if you do like the episode, that's perfectly fine. Film is subjective. Film and TV is subjective. If you love it, absolutely great. I personally did not enjoy it, but if you do love it, then more power to you. But one of the things that some have come out in defense of the episode was about the letter that Joel finds at the end of the episode. But my question would then be, did you feel you needed a letter to tell you where Joel was at that point in time, where his thought process was? I believe that at this stage the writers should trust that the audience is intelligent enough, and I don't know, I want to believe that audience is intelligent enough to observe Joel's behavior from episode to episode and see how his mannerisms change toward Ellie, and that would inform and tell us that this is a man who was who had gotten to a hard place, but is slowly beginning to change. And we already saw that within the last 2 episodes. If you look at the first exchange that Joel had with Ellie versus his exchange with her in episode 3, in fact, you can definitely see that he has changed in how he interacts with Ellie. We did not need a letter to tell us how Joel felt, and we did not need a letter to tell us what Joel needs to do. Show, don't tell. Show it to us. And they have been showing it to us, which is why the letter itself was completely irrelevant and absolutely unnecessary. Now, the other thing that I've seen persons, say makes the episode worth it, I guess, was they showed us the relationship, and a beautiful relationship as it was. Perfect. That's perfectly fine. We did not need an hour to establish that relationship. One of the things that the series has done fantastic so far, actually, is the relationship between Joel and Tess, and that was done in 10 to 15 minutes. I think it was maybe the latter part of episode 1, where Joel gets home. He takes pills, drinks liquor to kind of numb the day that he just experienced. He climbs into bed. Tess arrives after him much later, of course beaten, detained, and all of those things, and and bloody, and she climbs in bed after him. She doesn't say anything, she just climbs into bed. Next morning, Joel awakes. She's the first one out of bed, even though she was the last to get in bed. She's making breakfast. Joel then goes downstairs. It takes him a while. He doesn't look at Tess, doesn't say anything to her, and that informs the audience. It tells us that for Joel, it was sort of a routine for him. So he didn't ask her how her day was. He didn't look at her. None of the usual morning banter that people who are together would normally have. So he sits, takes him a while. He sees her face and then immediately reacts. And she of course talks him down because he wanted to go and kill a fool. But she talks him down, and that immediately tells you what their dynamic was, what their relationship was, who does what, who says what. It was perfectly done. Now, if we are able to accomplish that with 2 at the time key characters, why did we need an hour with 2 side characters who had no impact on the overarching story? I just don't believe that it was necessary. Now, we could have introduced Bill and Frank, cut to Joel and Ellie because it's supposed to be about Joel and Ellie. Have them do something. They're supposed to be the characters we're following. And then cut back to when Bill and Frank gets attacked, and then you play out the rest of their story from there. We did not need an hour spent on that episode. I personally don't believe we needed that long to establish a relationship. Lesser shows have done that with less time, and for a show of this caliber, they absolutely did not need to. So for me personally, unfortunately, I did not love that episode. I didn't enjoy it, and it makes me a bit worried for season 2, and all the news that I'm hearing about season 2 is making me a bit worried because I personally loved part two more than part one. I didn't care for part one. I loved part two, and I've said before, Abby is my absolute favorite character. But the reason why I'm worried now, after seeing episode three, is it's because I fear that the writer may lose sight of the story and choose to focus on social commentary over the story that needs to be told. And don't get me wrong, of course, in storytelling, art imitates life, so social commentary will make its way into a lot of stories. That's fine. But what happens, where it goes wrong, is where you lose sight of the story, and it feels as though you're now beating the audience over the head with the message, as opposed to weaving that into the story. Again, nuance, is the key word there. So it makes me a bit worried for season two, especially with them coming out now and saying they want to break season two up into, or part two, they want to break part two into 2 seasons. It reeks of some suits saying that, we need to milk this for as long as possible until Last of Us Part 3 gets released, so that we can then continue the series into the next game. That's what it feels like. So I will say the last episode makes me a bit worried for the remainder of the season and for the season to come. I'm hoping that that things will pick up again this episode and begin to change, and we'll end on a high note. I hope this is one of those cases where the creative team does take some feedback, because again, I just think that the last episode was just poorly executed, and could have been done better. At the end of the day, it is a post-apocalyptic zombie survival drama. There needs to be a balance somewhere there, and I worry that there's no one to. And this is the trouble with, I hear a lot of times people often say that it's always great to have the team involved with the original source material on the team, because they feel as though it always makes things better. But when you're adapting for a different format, you need someone there to kind of rein that person in, because even though you're intimately involved with the story, if you're adapting for a medium that you're not familiar with, then you need someone there to kind of balance you out. And my hope was that, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but the gentleman from Chernobyl would have been that side, to kind of keep the writing kind of focused, right? Because Chernobyl was tight storytelling. It was focused, tight storytelling. And I had hoped that, Last of Us would continue on that trajectory. But like I said, the episode could improve. I'm open to seeing where things go from here, and I'm still looking forward to the next episode and the remainder of the season. And I really hope that I'm proven wrong and we do end this season on a high note. All right, that is enough talk. Episode 4 of The Last of Us. Let's check it out. Where did you get a gun? She did sneak one in from somewhere. Maybe it was the last episode. I remember. I don't remember where she got it from, but I remember her taking one. Now he's gonna have to teach her at some point, so she doesn't at least shoot her leg off.
Nice. How does that work?
It's a siphon.
Good old gas siphoning.
It's when liquid travels against gravity because pressure.
You don't know.
I know it works.
He knows more than you do, if you have to ask.
It doesn't matter how much you push the envelope. It'll still be stationary. No pun intended. Volume 2 by Will Livingston.
I'm here for the jokes. Keep them coming. More puns, the better.
Stayed up all night.
No.
Wondering where the sun went. And then it dawned on me.
Feel free to wait in the truck.
Okay, but just know, you can't escape Will Livingston. He'll be back.
No, no, you don't.
It's light on the reading, but it has some interesting pictures.
No. Put that back. That's not protected,
I don't
Ellie.
even walk around with that thing.
Please get rid of it.
Hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Bye-bye, dude.
Oh, saw a lot of. Was that cattle? I don't know how exactly the fungi affect wildlife. That would be interesting. Which would mean that, you know, I mean, she was eating a chicken sandwich not too long ago. So are animals still around and they can still farm and stuff like that?
Alright, that's enough for today.
I need them to tell me how many humans are still alive. Yeah, I don't think they've really given us a whole lot of details, but I really want to know, you know, just how much of the population has been wiped out and how much has
I actually agree.
remained. How long was that expiration date?
This morning.
So can we start a fire? I'm freezing.
Now, why am I going to tell you no?
Why would you even stay in the quarantine zone? It feels as though you could just
anyway.
find a secluded area,
People?
live off the land, and you'll be fine. So there are areas where there aren't a whole lot of infected. Why aren't we populating those areas? I'm telling you, man, I feel as though we could slowly take back the land. But it may just be a case where some people don't want to go back.
What?
And everyone's just fighting over control, so I don't know if sleeping out in the open like that is a great idea. At least sleep in the truck. I mean, it would be uncomfortable, but at least you'd have shelter.
Why did the Scarecrow get an award?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
You dick. Did you read
You knew that one.
Oh,
See, we did not need a goddamn letter, okay? I'm sorry. Just, we didn't need a letter, alright? Just observe. All the more, he's keeping the rifle close, all the more reason you should have slept in the truck. Doesn't even look like he slept. So, obviously he was worried. I mean, what are the odds that someone would just come across them as long as they keep the lights out?
Is it seriously what those Starbucks in the QZ used to sell?
well, theirs was a lot fresher than what Bill saved up, but yeah, this is what they sold.
Starbucks still running in the apocalypse. That's hilarious. It's a matter of time before they run into people. And they're blocked in. This could be a trap. No way to pass. Yeah. Possible to clear the way. Going on foot. Yeah, unless they try to find another car on the other side somehow.
Kansas City.
Or go around it.
How far back do we have to go to get around this?
It's a long way. Yeah, I doubt they have enough gas for that.
What are you doing?
We can jog right around this tunnel.
Yeah, it's not like you have to drive on the
next
road.
ramp. We're back on the road minute tops.
Yeah, I don't think any cops are going to be on the way to tell you or to give you a
Stop.
ticket.
Is that the QZ? Where the fuck is Fed?
Uh-oh. Nope, 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 nope.
Put your
It's
seatbelt
like a
on.
trap. Get out.
Help him?
No.
Ah. Ah, damn it. Might have been better to just reverse. It's too late now.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You're not hurt, nothing.
I don't think so.
Fast!
Or are they just sitting there waiting for any vehicles to come through?
You see that hole? Can you squeeze through? When
Gotta
I say
give
go,
her
you
cover.
crawl to that wall and you squeeze through and you don't come out until I say, okay? Go!
Come on. Now stay put. Hey, you attacked me. And there were like 2 of them on the roof, right? Stay put. Don't try to do anything. Stay put and stay quiet. Where's the gun? Didn't she have a gun with her? Oh, okay. You've never shot someone before. Really? That's not how this works. I don't want her to do it, but Joel, just let Joel handle
I
it.
can trade with you guys. We can be friends.
You should have said that from the start.
I'm Brian. What's your name?
Sorry, Brandon. You attacked us. Can't trust you.
Get back behind the wall.
No, I'm sorry, please. We could just talk. I'm sorry.
You just tried to kill me, Brandon.
I'm sorry, please.
There are more of them, though. We really need to. That's why barricade themselves in here?
I'm okay. I'm good. I got some food in here still, and I got your light, so.
Okay.
What now?
You go up.
Great.
Let's get a better look.
Hopefully we spot a clear route out.
Any more hidden guns I need to know about? Oh, I guess there are a lot more of them. Scratch that. All right, let's go. This was a bad idea. Oh, hey. I know her. Mostly from comedic roles. This is interesting.
This is the cell where my brother was beaten to death.
Oh, you were wrong. And I'm sorry.
Her brother? Who's the old man to her? I mean, I'm guessing she's with Fedra.
Put a gun to my head.
Here. Have I satisfied the necessary conditions for you to talk?
No.
For God's sake.
And he was writing on her friends to Fedra, so she's not Fedra? Okay.
But Henry did.
Now I'm confused. I don't think he cares. I'm guessing Henry's his son. So is she Firefly?
Who did this?
We think it was outsiders. We found a truck loaded. It's not a Fedra vehicle, but they were heavily supplied.
Yeah, she's definitely not Fedra. So are they Firefly? And if so, why did they just attack a random truck?
Open it.
Oh, I guess he's dead. Seems to me she's doing this more for personal reasons. But this feels different from Marlene's faction, so I'm wondering if this is a third group that's not Firefly and not Fedra.
They're not Fedra and they're not Firefly.
People.
Just
Are you
people.
okay in here?
For a little bit, maybe.
That's easier said than done. Where are they gonna get another truck from? Just getting the one was hard enough.
Thing is, I didn't hear that guy coming. He shouldn't have had to have, you know.
But you're glad I did, right?
Oh,
You're just a kid.
Joel said that Tommy joined the army, which I guess now explains the truck in the first
He shouldn't have
episode.
had to.
But was Joel in the army as
I'm
well, or
sorry.
is it just Tommy? See? Show, don't tell. Just the mere fact that he's concerned for her on so many different levels tells us, the audience, where his mindset is
Finger off the trigger.
and how their dynamic and their relationship is
Who
changing.
taught you that?
Fedra school.
Figures. Thumb. Over your thumb. Left hand. Squeezes down on the right. Got it? There you go.
And she's a bit trigger happy. Yeah, I agree. Rifle's gone.
No sign
Just
of
his
them.
pistol and her handgun. They have very few weapons, no truck, and they're in enemy territory, whatever faction this is. They weren't up here, were they? I guess maybe that other group that they're looking for.
They're out of food. Henry won't let Sam starve.
Okay.
Double the guards around our provisions. He's fucking close. I can feel it.
An awful lot of resources being spent just looking for two people. To settle some personal vendetta. What is it? Oh, okay. The ground just moved.
When do we tell the others?
Infected.
Not yet. Let's just handle what we have to handle. We can deal with this after.
Kathleen.
Yeah, she has her priorities screwed up.
Seal off the building for now.
Nah, I'm not taking orders from you anymore. You've lost it, man. Alright, I'm guessing they're gonna run into Henry and what was it,
Go
Sam?
out. Come morning, I'll take a look at the city and find out.
They're both trying to get out.
Hey, you know that guy who said he was
Hope you run
hurt?
into nothing
How do
on
you
the
know it
way
was an
out.
ambush?
I've been on both sides. It was a long time ago. We did what we needed to survive.
You and Tess?
And the people we were with.
Ambush people and kill them for what?
Did you kill innocent people?
Come on.
Wasn't a no. Nah. Noise detector in case someone comes through the door.
What?
What are you doing?
I don't want someone sneaking up on us while we're sleeping.
Oh, I get
You don't get to pull that card. Not now. You've asked a million questions getting here.
it. Did you know diarrhea is hereditary? It runs in your genes.
Hey, he liked that one. A genuine smile from Joel.
Joel.
Uh-oh.
Joel!
Hope those broken glass work. Uh-oh. Oh! That didn't work. Alright, episode 4 of The Last of Us. That was a great episode, and all the proof you need that we did not need a letter in the last episode. I know I spoke about it a bit at the very beginning, but I'm just saying they have displayed just in this episode alone that, just looking at Joel's interaction with Ellie as their relationship developed, we can see him becoming more of a protector. He's showing more concern for her and all of that. We didn't need a letter to tell us that Joel needs to care for her and to protect her. We know, we can see it happening. So yeah, that throws that out the window. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like this should have been the follow-up episode, but that's what it feels like. The other episode didn't feel like it connected anything at all. It felt like, it didn't feel connected to the story. But this, a natural progression. We're seeing Joel and Ellie's relationship develop. He's opening up more. Actually, a lot earlier than I thought he would. I figured it would maybe midway point or maybe episode 6 or 7 before he got to that point. But I'm glad to see it regardless. We have now stumbled upon this new faction that's neither Fedra nor Firefly. Jules just said that they're just people. This woman who appears to be the leader of this faction, I've seen her in quite a few things. She's been acting for a while, but mostly in comedic roles. So I'm curious. I don't think I've ever seen her in a dramatic role like this. So I'm curious to see what she does with this. Obviously, she has she wants Henry and I forget what the boy's name is, but she wants them both, I think, because they gave up some information to Fedra that got her brother killed, if I'm remembering what she said correctly, or someone that she cared about killed. But even though she's the leader of this faction, that motive alone is what is driving her. She's sending her men all scattered, having them attack random people just all to find this Henry person. Not a particularly good leader so far, at least one that seems to be driven by by her emotions at the moment, in trying to find this Henry person. I'm assuming that this is Henry and the boy, since from the drawings that we saw in the room and so on. I don't know who these characters are, so I'm curious to see how exactly, how that plays out with both Joel and Ellie, because I mean they both have a common goal at the moment, which is to, I don't know if they're going in the same direction, but it's to leave where they are currently, wherever that might take them. But they're all trying to escape from here, so this could be a way for them to work together to that end. The problem is working with Henry and the boy, I'm assuming his son or his brother, would mean putting a giant target on their back, right? Because she thinks that the attack at the very beginning with Joel, where they attacked Joel in the truck, she believes that was Henry, and that's in Joel's benefit. So it would be best to not associate himself with Henry, since that many people are actually looking for Henry. So I don't think working together with him is the best idea, but Joel is short on allies at the moment, and Henry most likely knows this location more than he does and how best to get out of it, so he may not have a choice. Yeah, so I mean that'll definitely be interesting to see them work out. A few questions answered this episode, at least about Joel and Tommy's relationship. Again, I did not play the game, so I'm not really sure how accurate this is to the game. But he did mention that Tommy was in the army, which we did suspect from episode 1 when the truck that Joel and Tommy and Sarah were in drove off and the sticker was on the truck. But I wasn't sure who the truck belonged to, whether it belonged to Joel or Tommy. He has now confirmed that Tommy did in fact join the army. But I do wonder now, okay, that where did Joel get his skills from? Because obviously he's a capable fighter. I would imagine that maybe he served in the army as well, but they haven't said as much. He just said Tommy enlisted. So I'm curious. But clearly something put a strain on his relationship with Tommy. The fact that Tommy went off and joined the Fireflies because he wanted to change the world, or and I don't know how that's going to play out, but he didn't go back to Joel after, which says something. I don't know if perhaps he didn't want to be around Joel because Joel appeared to have lost hope, and Tommy very much seems to want to save the world. And I mean, this looks like a mission that Tommy would be all for because of what Ellie represents. So I'm wondering when Joel does eventually catch up to Tommy, if maybe Tommy will want to accompany Ellie, or maybe want to go with her to the Fireflies, and Joel may be opposing that, because at the moment Joel just wants to deliver her and go about his business as per usual. So I'm curious to see how their relationship has deteriorated in the past 20 years and what it's like now when they finally do reunite. So yeah, that is gonna be interesting. Ellie, of course, saving Joel this episode, and they did have this conversation about her maybe harming or possibly killing someone before. We've seen, I guess, hints of that. There was this conversation that happened between her and Tess, and they were talking about when she got bit, and when Tess asked her if she was alone, there was a brief hesitation, and she said no. She said yes, but you got the impression that she wasn't alone, and I'm wondering, who else she may have killed, or there was someone that she knew, or whatever the case might be. But I get a feeling she may be killed and infected, but not an actual person, because of the hesitation that she had here with this guy that attacked them. I don't know, but I think as she gets more comfortable with Joel, she'll reveal more, which isn't fair because she's asked him a million questions and he asked her one and she refused to answer. But I'm sure she'll open up to him eventually. Yeah, but it was nice to see, Joel clearly, despite him saying that the world is doomed, he still felt as though this wasn't a burden that a child should be forced to take on. Yeah. And it just speaks to how far he has come from the very first episode to now. So despite the fact that he feels that the world is gone to hell, he still has some principles that he holds dear. And so I really find that fascinating. Like I said, I know from what I knew of Joel in the games. I didn't play the games. I've just seen the story beats. But from what I've known of him, I've never particularly liked the character, but I like Pedro's portrayal of the character in the series so far, and I'm really actually liking the character, which is not normal. She's not normal. in my case. But yeah, it just speaks to one, his acting, and two, when the writing is actually done well, and focuses more on character, and you know, that's something that I really enjoy about the series as a whole so far. But yeah, that is it for episode 4 of The Last of Us. I absolutely love that episode, spending more time with Joel and Ellie and fleshing out the world more. New faction being introduced. We don't know a whole lot about them yet, but I'm curious to see where exactly that goes, and how, you know, with or without Henry's help, they'll be able to escape these people. Alright guys, that is it for episode 4 of The Last of Us. Be sure to post down below in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are about this episode. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and I will see you for the next one.